Karyn Kokeny has been a business coach and strategist for 7 years. She has a big vision to create a joyful, conscious world. Her corporate career in operations, sales, marketing, and executive management, leading a successful 8-figure Fortune 100 company, taught her so much, but never prepared her to be an entrepreneur. Karyn has since gone on to build 6-figure entrepreneurial businesses in coaching and direct sales. She helps rising entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses to 6 figures and to create strategies for multiple sources of income using your gifts and passion. And that is why I invited this girl to be on the show. So thank you, Karyn, for being here. I'm so excited to dig in and hear all that you have to share with us.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here and looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah. So the first question that I have for you is this your first business? So, or did you just start out, voila, I'm a coach, when you decided to go into your own business out of corporate? Or what has that journey looked like for you?
Well, that's a very good question. And yes, for the most part, I did meddle dating back to 2001, I would say, in some multi-level marketing stuff. The company ended up not having the financing or losing its financing, but for the most part, yes. When I left corporate, was the first time I started a true entrepreneurial business as a business coach.
And how did you incorporate what you were coaching on and how you were coaching? How did you incorporate what you brought from the corporate world?
Well, the very first thing I did, because I had a lot of fear, of course, going into it in the beginning, it took me quite a bit of soul searching and training my mind to finally make the leap, take the leap to start my own business. So how I did it, I have to give a lot of the credit to my very first business coach of my own. I believe that, when we are listening to people and learning from people, that we should always listen to people who have been where we're at, but yet have what we want. And when we do that, we have the best chance for working with someone who can bring us to that place that we want to be and can also appreciate where we've been and therefore best guide us with the best roadmap to whatever it is that our destination is. So that's how I did it, is I hired a coach. Of course, I did it, right? But with the support of a great business coach at the time.
So what skills do you bring forward from, because, as in your introduction, it was marketing, it was sales, it was executive management, and leadership. So how do those things incorporate into how you coach your clients today?
Oh, gosh, another great question. In so many ways. I mean, so I ran an 8-figure business within a Fortune 100 company. And there's so many aspects to business. And we find that out when we go into entrepreneurship, right? Because we realize we have all these hats to wear that we never even realized. So, there's marketing, just like you mentioned, there's selling, there's strategy. Nothing happens until you have a strategy or plan. Those are two different things, really, but you need a strategy first. Where are you going? And thinking through all of the ways that you're going to get there, thinking through possible barriers that would come up along the way, and having some contingency plans. So all of that, strategic planning, is certainly part of what I bring to my clients. And then when we get into it, the business development, how do you hunt for, look for leads so that you have a continuous stream of leads and clients? And then the sales, which is a process. A lot of people don't think about sales as a process, but the sales as a process, all the way from lead generation through to the closing of the sale and the enrollment of the client. And then the fulfillment. Once we have a new customer, I often say that's the most important time of that relationship. So the fulfillment, how do you bring fulfillment, the delivery of that product or service that you've now sold to that client to ensure that they are a very happy client and continue to buy from you. And the finance, just the organization and the systems. If you want a scalable business, much of what we have to do is we have to provide leverage. So leveraging different aspects and the team. We can't do it without a team. We can't build a business without a team. So how do you manage team members in a way that makes them feel like they are valued, allows them to really to bring out their gifts, like you don't impede their progress, you bring out their gifts, but yet you still provide them with clear direction. So all of these things, and probably more that I haven't mentioned, but those are the first things that come to mind, and that's how I help my clients.
Beautiful. Tell us a little bit about your ideal client. Who do you work with specifically? And did you start out with that focus, or did it evolve?
Yeah, I started out with just small businesses of all kinds. I really wasn't niched at all. I worked with spas, I worked with medical doctors, I worked with a truck and auto hauler, just all sorts of businesses, even a seamstress who had a team of people, and just lots of different types of businesses. But as the world has changed and we've gone digital, it has definitely evolved. And so now I work with what I call rising entrepreneurs who want to build their businesses to multiple six figures and beyond. And when I call them rising entrepreneurs, that means a lot to me. There's a lot to that word. Rising meaning that they're invested in bettering themselves and they want to be the best version of themselves. Rising because they want to continually improve their results monetarily and otherwise. And rising is a mindset as well. So that's who I work with today, rising entrepreneurs who want to build their businesses to multiple six figures and beyond.
I like that. I like that a lot. Because when you think of all of those, what rising means to you. So all of those pieces that go into that sets the stage for a very particular type of entrepreneur. I'm sure you have worked with some. I know I've worked with some that they come to you and they're like, I want to start a business, but I don't know what. Like, I don't even know what I want to do. I don't know who I want to serve. I don't know what I do or what I'm good at. Like, I've had some enrollment calls with some people or discovery calls with some people who they're taking me up on that discovery call, but then it's I'm going to say this, and I don't mean anything to them. They're at least saying, I want to do something. Okay.
Right.
But I have no idea what. And it feels like pulling teeth, almost like even to get a vision at, well, what do you want it to look like? What are you good at? I don't know. It's like, okay, so that's not, I know I have learned, I have to be very clear in my marketing message to say, I'm not at that stage of I don't know what I want to do. I just want to do something. Like, you need to have an idea. I'm looking for driven people who are willing to put in the work, because I'm not going to pull you along, things like that. And I think I love how you describe that as that rising entrepreneur, of that person. They're going for it. This is not, they're willing to put in the work. They're willing to put in the personal development that's needed and all of that.
Right. They already, maybe another way to say it is, and it sounds like, that's who you work with as well, Stephanie, is they already have an idea and they just don't know where to start. That's okay. So they have an idea. They also have at least a semblance of a goal of where they might want to be, let's say 12 months from now. And so now it's like, okay, help me. And when I get those calls too, I'm happy to help those people. I'm happy to help anyone, because, quite simply, you can look at, your skills. You can look at maybe things that you've been successful at in the past. You can look at your past positions and what you have put into your toolbox already, as far as capabilities. And then you can look at your passions, and essentially all the places that those intersect might just be, you might just have something there. And then you can start with a hypothesis and then work it from there. So
yeah.
So maybe that was a little bit of help to anybody who's listening that isn't sure what they want to do.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So how has your business evolved to have multiple streams of income? What does that look like for you in your life? What are all of the different streams of income that have created the life that you've built?
I currently have 3 streams of income. I'd like to have more. This is probably more rumor. I haven't actually validated it, but they say the wealthiest people in the world have at least 7 streams of income. I do believe that's true.
Yeah.
My 3 streams of income are, of course, my coaching business. And then I'm passionate about holistic health, preventing disease, right? Taking care of myself. And I think it's incredibly important. Maybe the number one thing, meaning of importance for an entrepreneur, because it isn't easy, right? It isn't always easy to be an entrepreneur. And so how do we keep our energy up and all of that? So I could talk more about that, but so I'm working in that world with advanced biotech wellness products in a direct sales model, not multi-level marketing, direct sales. It's quite a bit different. And then thirdly, and I think this is so important, and we forget to talk about this a lot, is we bring in all this income. Well, can we save our way to wealth? No, we can't save our way to wealth. It's one of those lies that, just keep saving, and you'll be wealthy. No, you must make your money work for you. So you take that income and you invest it into a vehicle that can ideally bring you passive income. And so my third revenue stream, my third income stream, is I have invested in real estate that does just that. So people rent my real estate and I bring in income, and it happens while I sleep. And I don't have to lift a finger because somebody's managing it for me. So those are my current 3 streams of income. And it's so important to have multiple ones. I could tell you a story if you'd want me to.
Please.
Okay. Well, so let's look at the early part of 2020 when the world changed for us all. And I had 3 streams of income then. 2 of them fell off the face of the earth for a period of time, right? Tourism shut down. So no rental income. And something else happened that I don't want to get into, where I no longer had a business. So I had to scurry and scramble and kind of rebuild that aspect of what I was doing throughout 2020 or later in 2020. But it's so important. I'll tell you another story. Back in, 2014, when I started this business as a business coach, I was working for another middle market company after I had left a Fortune 100 company. And I got ill. I got very ill, and I had to go off on family medical leave of absence. I had just been through a divorce, and I was not in very good space emotionally. I was angry. I was hurt. I felt betrayed. And I went off on family medical leave of absence. And when I went back to work after 12 weeks, they let me go. And there I was, never before so isolated, sitting there, after the divorce. I'd lost a lot of my money. And here I was, I had moved back to the Midwest, which is not a great place for consumer goods, which was my background. I had no appetite for looking for a new job. And I was emotionally not in a good place. And I had surgery scheduled for 2 weeks from then that company wasn't even aware of. So I was in no place to really pick myself up and find a job. The only thing I could do was start my own business to try and get monetized as quickly as possible. And back to the story in the very beginning, that's why I knew I had to hire somebody to help me. I just was smart enough to know I couldn't do it alone, that I needed a mentor who could believe in me and could help guide me. And so this is the very reason why we don't want to get comfortable with just one stream of income, because anything can happen. We don't know what we don't know. And there are a lot of things we don't have control over.
Yeah. That's so true. And that's why I really do think, just like you, that it's so important for us to diversify where our income is coming from.
Yes.
In this world, we can't depend on even that dependable salary. We need to be prepared for something else. We need to be prepared. And I know for me, I started my first company. I started my first business as in network marketing when I was 18. As soon as I was legally able to sign up, I did. And I always looked at it as my plan B, as that thing that, one day I'll build this, or, if I ever lose my job, then I'll go in 100%. And I can look back on that and, man, I wish I had just gone 100% into it when I was 18. Now that company doesn't exist anymore. So at some point I would have been forced to pivot into a different company, but I'm sure if I had actually at 18 built an empire in that company, would have moved with me, right? Most of my team probably would have said, okay, we'll go wherever you're going now, Stephanie. We're just gonna build again, and so I look at that and I look back on that, and I have some regret that I didn't focus on it the same way. Now I was 18 years old, so there's some of that, but I know a lot of people that are, they're in their 20s and they did the same thing, but they went on it as like, this is it. This is the plan, not plan B. This isn't the side gig. This isn't one of our other speakers. We talked about the that side hustle, side gig. And I saw her on Instagram today. She's going to be talking about it in her Facebook group, our other speaker, Tracy, about that, get rid of the side part of it, right? Like, right. And the comment I put was, I kind of like, I also instead of this is my side gig or whatever. No, I do this and I do this. Let's just like bring it all in as this is me as a whole person, not just this thing over off the side.
Exactly. And both our stories as you're talking remind me to just kind of maybe emphasize or re-emphasize this, is that, when we have this income, and a lot of people in multi-level marketing or direct sales make this mistake, you get, the money can be very, very good if you're committed and taking action and implementing, right? And they make the mistake of not doing something with that money, meaning what I said earlier, making that money work for them. And so something happens, then boom, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Yeah. And thankfully, like even now, thankfully I have invested some of my income. So I have an income stream that comes and comes and comes, because sometimes our business can go up,
sure,
down, and so it's just really nice to have something to fall back on. So that is how we should be thinking about it. And another tip in that is, and that's, I'm very good with strategy, is like helping people to strategically figure out businesses that are synergistic, or maybe a better word is symbiotic, where you're not completely, your resources can be somewhat combined, where they're being put to use, and you can multiply your resources without dividing them.
So I want to delve in a little bit into what your typical week looks like. How do you manage the different things that you do? You mentioned you have a property manager who helps with your real estate investments. How do you manage everything else? Do you have a team? Do you have a VA? Do you have certain hours that you work? Like, what does a week look like for you? How does that play out?
So for me, and this is just what works for me. So every day, weekday, I don't do any business unless I will make exceptions for important things. But I don't do any business before 10 a.m. I don't wake up to an alarm clock. I like to sleep until my body is ready to get up, because again, back to the preventative health, I make sure my body gets enough sleep. That is so incredibly important. And so that way it helps me have the energy to do all the many things that I'm juggling. So usually my day starts at 10 o'clock. I will work a very full day. I probably work 50 hours a week right now. And it's okay because I love what I do. I have a VA, and I also hire other people to do projects from time to time when there's even more of a pull and I have a tight timeline. I will bring in other resources to help me get those projects done. So I like to carve out blocks of time. If I'm working on something in a block of time, then I'm focused and I'm much more productive. This whole idea of multitasking and that is helping people be more productive is another one of those lies. Not true. We really have to focus, and focus is one of my towering strengths. So setting aside blocks of time is how I get projects done. And I literally will put my phone away. That phone, the internet, and life is such a distraction. So we have to manage those distractions. And that's one of the key ways that I do it. I also, will generally take off the time like during the dinner hour. And then oftentimes in the evenings during the week, I go back to work, and I have a couple of really productive hours during the week. I don't do that every single night because, I don't want to I don't want to burn out. That's not good either. But I listen to my body. That's the most important thing. I really do. And if I'm in a role with something, I just keep going.
Right.
And I just listen to my body, and my body pretty much tells me what I need. But I think for people who are listening, yes, that's a tip, listen to your body, but you also have to do hard things sometimes. When you have deadlines and whatnot, your body might be saying, no, I don't want to. But if you are committed and you have targets, you must.
Yeah.
So this is where having a coach or some accountability partner can really be helpful to lift you up and help you stay motivated and remind you of that vision and that dream and that freedom that you're working towards to keep you going. So I don't know if that's specific enough of an answer for you, but that's how I manage it. I couldn't do it without a team. I also have a chef who does, I don't cook much right now because it's just too much of my time. I live alone. So I have a chef who does, she plans my meals. She gives me a menu. She shops my meals, cooks my meals, delivers my meals. All I have to do is clean the dishes and return all the glass dishes. That's it. I have someone who cleans my house, and I have someone who does all my lawn work. So aside from that, I can pretty much focus on what I need to focus on because I believe that you do what your business does best and trade for the rest. Yeah. And so that's how I manage my life and my day.
And I appreciate you mentioning with that, like that right now you're in a space where you live alone. So it's not that you're ignoring family and things like that when you're working in the evenings and stuff, I know I have my times when like producing a show like this that, my family knows I'm going to be working more. I'm going to have dinner, and then I'm going to go edit some video, and I'm going to do some other things. But most of the time, I try to end my day, by dinner time. Usually it's actually, I try to end it in a great time, like when my daughter gets off from school. That's when I try to really be done. For now, she's almost in in about a year, she'll be driving all on her own. And so I won't have that. Like I won't have that cut off if I got to go pick her up from school or anything, probably. So, but right now I do. And so I try to kind of use that as the end of my day, or at least the end of my day for those things that require a lot of intense thinking, strategizing, like client calls and things like that. The fun stuff that like designing something in Canva, making some updates to my website, things like that, those can happen in the evening.
Exactly. When you're a little bit, when you got that tired, more mush brain, you can do those kinds of things.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And my husband, he's got dishes and laundry covered because he's OCD about those things. So I let him be.
Very good. Very good. And I have an 89-year-old mom who's actually going to be 90 in April. And so I make sure that I carve out time weekly for her to see her face to face. We spend a lot of time together on the weekends. every weekend unless I'm traveling. And then occasionally during the week, I'll go visit. And I try to call her at least every other day. So, and I have a dog, so we're walking, which is also nice. If you run into that, oh my gosh, I need a break. Come on, Abby, let's go. I grab her and we go walk around the block and get some fresh air, and I'm ready to go again. So, it's those little things, like I said, listening to your body. And I'm so glad that you're able to, take that time for your family too, Stephanie, because family for many of us is a priority.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I lived the life of when I was, it was a few years before I left corporate, where I worked full time, and then I was growing a business, one of my, network marketing businesses, and I was working, volunteering for a gubernatorial campaign and doing social media and email marketing the email marketing for him. And so I was at this place where at any time, my daughter was maybe 6 at the time, not even. And, she'd come up to me and say, "Hey, Mom, can we do this? Can we play this? Will you come do this with me or whatever?" And I found myself always saying, "Hold on, let me finish what I'm doing." Because I always had my laptop in my lap, working on one of those things after work, right? And at some point, like, God was really clear. He kind of smacked me upside the head one day driving home from work. He said, "You have to quit the campaign and you have to stop your business right now and focus on family." And it was hard because, man, I was a workaholic and I loved it. I loved it. I felt lazy if I just sat on the couch and watched TV. Like I needed to be doing something at the same time. And he was very clear. No. And you can look at pictures. I look at pictures of me in that time and I can see how run down I was. And like, I did not look happy. I didn't look happy at all, even though I felt like I was like doing the things I needed to do. I was not healthy. I was not. And it felt so good that first time after I made the decision to obey what I had heard. And I quit the campaign and I quit focusing on my business. I was like, whatever customers I have, I've got those, but I quit promoting on social media and all of that. It was just like, I'm just going to chill because that's what he told me to do. And it was beautiful when my daughter would come and say, "Hey, Mom, will you play school with me? Or will you play, dolls with me or color or whatever?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go," And I realized how much I had been missing out on by saying, because it was one of those things where it was like, I would say, "Hold on, let me finish this email or let me finish this, whatever it was I was working on." And then by the time I finished, it was time to get her ready for bed and get her in bed. And so there was no real interaction happening with her. So that's why it's so important to me now. Like, since I've been in this business, that was part of my vision, was that I get to pick her up from school. She was in elementary when I started. And it's like, I get to pick her up from school. And if I don't want to work after that, I don't have to.
Right.
And we can just hang out. Now, if she's going to come home from school and go play with her friends or whatever, well, then I can pick up a couple hours, like right now she's got soccer practice after school until 5. So my 3 o'clock pickup is now 5 o'clock. I've got a couple more hours that I can focus on, which means I don't have to do anything in the evenings if I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be flexible too. That's what you're illustrating, and you can create whatever works for you. And in doing so, you're going to be much more committed. You're going to stick to it much better, and you're going to get to your results more quickly. It's just find something that works, but then stick to it. Because that's where integrity really comes into play. You know what integrity is? Integrity is doing the things that you say you're going to do, even when no one's watching.
Yeah.
How much in integrity are you with yourself?
Oh, I used to be totally out of line with that one. Totally.
So did I.
Until I realized, oh, I only hold appointments with other people, but I move my stuff around all the time.
All the time. Yeah, that's out of integrity. Yeah. And then it starts slipping, right? You notice how the effects of that being out of integrity with yourself are that everything starts slipping and you're moving further and further away from your goals. So yeah, this is where, again, having a coach or an accountability partner, somebody to help you was very, very helpful.
So I think that's a great lead in to a question that I've got for you, which is, what are you seeing as a business coach that are some of the most common mistakes that entrepreneurs are making right now when they're starting and launching their business?
Great question. First thing that's coming to mind is waiting too long to get help. Since we're on that topic, I'm truly waiting too long to get help, and mainly help in the way of even just like a virtual assistant, somebody who can pick up and do those projects that are important. They need to be done, whether it's, research, like you had to do research to find speakers for your summit. So that's a perfect example, right? Those kinds of things take an incredible amount of time, and you have incredible skills that you need to really be putting elsewhere. So that's a perfect example where somebody can hire a VA to do administrative sort of things that you don't need to be doing, and allowing you to focus on business development. I mean, starting out. So waiting too long to get help in a VA, like a team of some sort to support and help you to get all the work done, build the foundation if you're early stage in your business. But then also waiting too long to get help in the way of a coach, someone who's over there who can pull you up, who can be a champion for you, who can see things in you that you might not even see in yourself, who can believe in you, who can provide you a roadmap and help guide you, who can brainstorm with you, who can consult for you, who can hold you accountable, and all of those things. So I say that's the very first thing, is waiting too long to get help in two forms. And the other thing is doing the wrong things, or maybe doing sometimes the wrong things, but more commonly is doing the right things, but doing them in the wrong order.
What does that look like?
So what that great question. A perfect example that I like to give is just when we first start a business. Let's say if you're an early stage in your business, you might be developing a website. You might say, okay, first thing I need is a website. Well, no, that's not the first thing you need. And in fact, you can have a multiple six-figure business without even having a website. Now, do you need some other things instead? Yes, but that's my point. So focusing on the things in the right order. Another thing it might look like is going out and starting to make an offer, but you haven't really thought through your offer and what is the value in the offer, and who are you making the offer to, and how is your messaging? So doing some of the key important things up front, like really knowing who are you talking to, what problems do you solve, and defining that ideal client, if you will. And it's kind of an overused term, but who are you serving, what problems can you solve for them, so that you can get your marketing messages right, and then create an offer that's ideal for them, and also really folds in your expertise and your skills and how you are going to pull that all together and fill in the gaps for them to get them to their point B, right? So doing things in the wrong order can really cost you a lot of time and money, because when you realize that, oh, oops, I need to go back and do that, you've just lost a pile of time and possibly even some money, you might have invested in things that really were beyond where you're at. That's what I would say, those two things.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know I have suggested to some of my clients, before you build a website, let's pick where, sorry, my dog has decided to come and make a bunch of noise.
I love it. My lab is sleeping over there right now.
I forgot to close my office door. So he's like, I'm going to come in and make a lot of noise and let you know I'm here.
It's all good.
But I've suggested to a lot of my clients, if they come in and they're starting to work with me and they have absolutely nothing in place, they haven't started anything tech wise, like, let's figure out where you want your email to, what email marketing system you want to use, and build a landing page.
Yes.
So that's
Amen.
the first thing you need to start to collect emails so that you can be communicating with people that are interested in what you have, even if you're not sure what you have yet. Like,
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. That list is an asset, a key
right,
asset. Yes.
right. And unfortunately, it's something that, because there is such a focus on, no, I need to have my logo and I need to figure out what my URL is and I need to go and build a website and all of that, that there's a lot of deprogramming that we have to do, because I can spend sometimes 3-4 months saying that same thing. Let's figure this out first. Let's figure this out first. And like, but I'm working on my website. Okay, but you don't need to do that until you know what you're doing. So let's start talking to people and getting a feel for what they have. So yeah.
Yeah. And here's some backup for why a website early on doesn't make sense. You haven't gone out there and tested, right? Marketing is testing and measuring. So you haven't gone out and tested your offer, your sales process, your messaging, none of that. And once you've actually done that and work with clients and you get some feedback, then you know much better what messaging to put on your website. The second reason or backup for why websites early on don't make sense is they don't convert. And a lot of people, when they first get into their business, launch their business, or early stage in their business, they're looking to monetize, to get some cash so they can reinvest in team members and whatnot. So websites don't convert unless you're running an e-commerce
Right.
off your website. They don't convert. So like you said, Stephanie is exactly right what she said. You need that email autoresponder and you need that landing page to collect your potential prospects and build your list. So amen to that. Great point.
What does an aligned business mean? You've used that term a few times, but about aligning things and helping your clients strategize of what are those multiple streams of income that all align. They're all synergistic in a way. What does that mean?
Yes, aligned and joyful. I'm all about those two things. I realized, you asked me earlier, who did I work with and how has that evolved? Well, some of those people that I worked with early on, they weren't really aligned to who I was and the types of businesses and business owners that I wanted to work with. Was I able to help them? Yes, of course, because business is run on systems and the same foundational things work for most businesses. It's just, they vary by business model and whatnot. But aligned business is so important because, first of all, if you have a vision, Stephanie mentioned you mentioned my vision in the beginning. I'm all about creating a more joyful, conscious world, period. That's the ideal. Visions are 50 and 100 years out, right? And then your mission is your 5-year out. What can you see on the radar screen 5 years out, about 5 years out? And that is multi-pronged. So when you know what your vision is and you know what your mission is, and then you have the right business model as a foundation, depending on what kind of business you want to have, then everything is aligned and it makes decision making in your business so much quicker and easier. It makes decision making about where to spend your resources, your time, your money, so much easier. It makes deciding, do I want to work with this business or don't I want to work with this business, so much easier. It just makes everything so much easier. And most importantly, perhaps, is it keeps you going, because when you're aligned, you feel it. When you're misaligned, you're going to find reasons to quit. You're going to find reasons to get distracted. You're going to all of that other stuff. You're going to lose your motivation. And this is so important because business isn't easy. So when you're aligned, your passion, your vision will drive you and keep you going, because the only thing that differs between those who are successful and those who are not is the ones who are successful never, ever, ever, did I say ever, gave up.
Right. Yeah. All right, one last question for you.
All right.
Wrap up. So
what
do you feel are the most important reasons to have multiple streams of income? I just want to tie it back into the whole reason we're here. So what are those most important reasons that we should incorporate multiple streams of income?
I'll answer that first with a question. You're listening to this interview right now. What do you want? What are you starting, working, scaling your business for? Most likely it's something to do with you want more time to spend with your family. Maybe you want to travel, visit, and get to know different cultures around the world. Maybe you want freedom, just all sorts of freedom. Maybe you want more time to spend with your hobbies. Maybe you want to do something really philanthropic. You want to give a lot of your money away. Maybe you really just want to help other people in a big, big way. The people who help more people are the people who make more money, because they have more money to help more people with. So money is not dirty. Money is not an evil thing. Money is a tool. And so we need multiple streams of income, because when you take that income, you can then invest it, and money can become the tool to give you more time with your family, maybe even a better relationship, your freedom, money to give back to others, time to give back to others in ways that you always dreamed of. That's why you need multiple streams of income. And when something happens that you either don't have control of or you didn't expect, COVID, you've got another leg to stand on, or two, that will allow you to continue your quality of life without really skipping a beat. That's why.
What a wonderful way to end this, because that is powerful. And I highly encourage you to go hit a little rewind on this one and go listen to that again, because that is the key. That's why we're here. That's why we start businesses. We don't start businesses to create a job for ourselves.
No.
We're usually leaving a job because it's like, I'm not in control of when I take time off. I'm not in control of how long I can take time off. I'm not in control of, like, if my child is sick, I have to get permission to leave. All of those things are what leads us to, you know what, this dream. And I've had this dream for a while. And I think I want to go do that now. Because something happens and we hit that tipping point in our corporate career. And it could be that tipping point is a decision we make, a choice, like, okay, I'm done, gone, I'm going to do my thing now. And sometimes the decision is made for us through layoffs and things like that. But it's in that moment that you get to choose, what, this is how family comes first. For me, this is how family comes first. Mm-hmm. It's how I'm able to be where I need to be with my daughter in her sports and school. It's how, we spent 2 years with my husband living in Virginia. We live in Arkansas. He's in the military. We decided we were going to wait to move, and then COVID hit, and it's like, well, we're not going. We're not moving now. But I was able to, it wasn't a hardship from the aspect of all of a sudden I was single parent for 2 years, right, in the house, because he was up there. It wasn't a hardship because I'm in control of my schedule. And I can block off those times when I can't have meetings. And that's what's important to me. And, that's for me personally. Now, my mission, that thing you talked about, and my mission is to help other women dream in the same way and say, what does life look like? And how can I have this freedom? And how can I give back? How can I make kingdom impact by building a business and by incorporating multiple streams of income? Because ministries don't run on air. They run on money. And they are dependent on donations, which means they're dependent on people going and making money and donating that money. And so that's how we get to have more kingdom impact, is by making more money that we can give. And that's my mission. That's what I'm here on this earth to do.
So beautiful. Love it.
And so I'm so glad that you gave us that. So again, go rewind and listen to what she said.
I can't get it right. How about this? Since we're on
Karyn,
Zoom.
there we go. There we go. Karyn has gifted you with an amazing document that's going to help you, a guide. It's 4 key actions to grow your 6-figure business. The link to that is here on this page. Go grab it and go start working towards that now, because that's how you get to freedom, and how you get to do all the things that you want to do is by creating that level of income that creates cushion and space and for all the things that you want to do. Karyn,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much for being here.
You are so welcome, Stephanie. It's been my pleasure. I've so much enjoyed the conversation, and I wish all your listeners the very, very best of success, and go out and change the world. Your business, your prosperous business, can truly help change the world, one client, one person at a time.
That's right.
So go do it. You've got this.